Welcome to the Rapid Reviews Radio Podcast, episode 256. I am your host, not Kylie Wilde, and I am joined by the ever-present co-host, Pete Beckett.
Hello, this feels weird. I should actually be hosting my own show, but this was a bit that Mike went with.
It's just this bit, it's just the intro.
Yeah.
It's all over to you, Pete.
I know. Yeah, I am, as you've seen, I am not Kylie Wilde. I am the usual one. The main one, let's say. The one that turns up. But I am joined by my illustrious guests and friends of the show. Best friend of the show, Miketendo.
Hello there.
And second best friend of the show, Nana. But they're equal in all parts, let's just say.
Equally best friend. Don't say second best friend. It's like equally best friend. If not more so, because Nana, come on.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, fine, yeah. So I'm joined by two best friends of the show. There you go. Yeah. See, you can tell I don't host very much. It's great, isn't it? So, we might talk about that later.
Not my Kylie Wilde. Hashtag bring back Kylie.
Hashtag Pete
and we haven't
sacked.
even gotten started yet.
Sacking. Yeah. Anyway, so the agenda for today's episode is we are going to be talking about MCM Comic Con London 2025 that was happening over this past weekend, the 24th to the 26th of October, as if you're listening to this in the future. So all three of us did make it there, but what we usually do and how we start the show is if we're joined by guests, which we are this time, we will pass it over to them. So Mike, actually no, you know what? I'm going to start with Nana. Nana, how's your week been and what have you been playing?
My week's been good. Thankfully, I've actually had a chance to play quite a bit of stuff, but it was mainly taken up by two games. So the first thing that I managed to play was the new Genshin Impact update, where they have added an entirely new mode. It is called Celestial Wonderland, and it basically... The best way I can describe it pretty much is that it is Roblox, pretty much. Like, you make your own games and you get to try out other people's user creations. I enjoy it quite a bit at the moment. The big thing for me at the moment that's kind of is not great is that you have to pay for costumes. Like, there's no way to, grind and get them for free, which is a little bit disappointing. Yeah, I know. But I'm enjoying seeing what people are coming up with. Like, there's been blade football, like a overcooked type of mini game, a tank mini game. I think it's just one of those things that it's like you're gonna need to wait a couple of months to see the true potential of the mode because it's user generated. So I think you're just gonna have to wait and see what people come up with.
So it's essentially basically Genshin Impact's answer to Roblox in some degree.
Yes, okay. That is pretty much what it is. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then the other thing I tried.
Their perch.
That is very true. That is very true.
Get them pedo games out, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing that I did manage to play actually was also the new update for Zenless Zone Zero and its story.
Of course.
I haven't finished. Yeah. Of course. If you know me, that's not surprising. That is not surprising at all. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm enjoying it so far. Essentially, the plot of it is just they are all in a town where their true desires are coming to light, or desires that they left behind as a kid. And it relates pretty well for one of the newer characters that is in there called Lucia. There's a child version of herself that she's not sure what that's about because she's living her true desire. So that's pretty cool. You also have the sort of big enforcer dude as well. We're meeting a bunch of new characters as well for the next chapter, which I think is nice. And yeah, I'd say I'm enjoying it so far. Nice. Besides that, I played the Steam Next Fest demo for Eternal Palace Sakura. And it's one of those cases where it's you have great combat gameplay. I wish it wasn't a roguelike because, goodness, some of the drawbacks are very frustrating.
Okay.
They are very frustrating, yeah.
Is it very much in the sense of, myself, you're not particularly big on roguelites, so it's ooh, how do I play this?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Okay.
because it's like you can only also get back health, but you also have to take a drawback because of the way this health regen system works. So
Oof, yeah.
yeah, it's not. I'm gonna try and play it a bit more and learn it, but that's not a good first impression.
Fair enough.
Besides that, the only other thing I played was like Descenders, and if you play Descenders, you know what that game is about. So
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
that's it from me.
fair enough. Okay. Mike, how have you been? How's your week been? And what have you been playing?
Yeah, not too bad actually. It's been quite a week, which we will get into eventually. That's the whole point of this episode today. But as to regards to games that I've been playing, I've mostly been playing Pokemon Legends ZA on the Nintendo Switch 2. Recently beaten it, and now it's just clearing up missions and trying to catch the rest of Pokemon that I'm missing. And I'm also played a game that's released earlier this week. It came out on Friday. It is Fast and Furious Arcade Edition, and one of the main reasons is because I am reviewing it. And if you've ever played any of like the cruising games or Cruising Blast, it's pretty much that with a Fast and Furious skin, and I was half expecting more cars from the Fast and Furious series to be in it. But there's like one that I recognise and no Nissan Skyline, which is really, really strange because I'm pretty sure the Nissan Skyline appears in one of the cruising games anyway. So why it wasn't in this one?
Yeah, that's
Doesn't
yeah,
make
I don't
sense to
know.
me.
I know, I remember this conversation on Friday. Obviously, I
Yeah.
was just letting you go with it, but it is the stupidest thing in the world. Also, I saw that Barry from Impact Game Station put up his video as well, and I'm like, oof, this looks rough.
I mean, the gameplay is the same as any Cruising Blast game, and I do enjoy Cruising Blast. I also reviewed that, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. But this time around, it just felt like it literally was. It was cruising, but they just slapped on the franchise for it, and maybe like thrown in mission objectives. Basically, reach the end of the map or the race, the circuit, and you complete the mission. So it's basically just get there first to stop the missile or to catch the vault and kind of like that. And it's like all you've done is just tap this on, and I can't really get behind that, I'm afraid. And I quite enjoyed the earlier Fast and Furious films. If they did something a bit more, more with like the street racing and like kept in theme with that, that would have been fine. But
Fair enough.
Can't get behind
Totally
it, I'm
understand that. I actually want to draw it back a little bit because you sort of skipped over it a little bit. Pokemon Legends EA. What did
Pokemon
you
Legends
what did
EA,
you actually think about the game? Or are you saving that for the review?
No, the review's already done. I quite enjoyed it. There are a number of things in the game that I quite like, and there's other things that they could have done a little bit but better, especially JPEG buildings. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Well, you mean the same JPEG buildings that they've been doing since Gen 5, I think it is?
I mean, you look at a lot of like Nintendo games, and you see all the joints and curves and parapets and all that in every single model, but to see fully just flat buildings, and seeing as you are in a urban environment, you think they put a little bit more effort. Now, some of them from a distance, like the actual designs and that they've done, look all right, but the shadowing could have been a bit better to make it look a lot more 3D if that was the way they were going to go with it. But yeah, I feel like, the character models, the NPCs, the Pokemon themselves, they look all right. Everything looks fine. The interiors, when there are interiors, look absolutely great. There's like a museum at one point which pays homage to Pokemon Legends Arceus. So you see a lot of like the lore and stuff like that. So that was really good. I like that they brought the Alpha Pokemon back, because the Alpha Pokemon are basically just great big versions of Pokemon. But when you're like fighting other like NPCs and you've got like a giant Gengar that is just overlording it over the others, it looks good. It feels good as well.
Yeah, I've heard it's incredibly imbalanced though, isn't it? Because of it.
Oh yes. But I quite enjoyed it. Is it my game of the year? No, but I do feel it is kind of in slightly better than Nintendo's other offerings for this year, and that's no like real criticism against Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. They are great games in their own right, but they're not oh my word, this is, the system seller that we was hoping it was going to be.
Yeah.
Now that the kind of hype has, sort of teetered off. I mean, these could have easily have been like Nintendo Switch games, but because of these slight upgrades to the Switch 2, they run a bit better, and it's like, well, just move them over there. So, yeah.
Totally understandable, really, but still, I'm not a fan of the price pointing for most of those games anyway. But that's a different discussion that we've already had.
So, Pete, how's your week been?
I thought you'd never ask. No, it feels weird because
highly wild.
I know, because usually it would be me going first, so it feels weird. The week's been good. It's been exhausting, obviously, but we'll get into that in a little bit. In terms of games that I've been playing, didn't mention it like last week because I had so much more that I needed to discuss with the Evo discussion. But I have finally completed the Switch 2 version of Super Mario Galaxy. And I've now moved on to Galaxy 2. There is a review incoming that will be soon, but I've wanted to actually do not a full completion, but more of a real proper breakdown of the actual games themselves. And sort of with being away and all that, it's been a bit delayed because I've been so busy. But general thoughts on Mario Galaxy is, I'm not reading that pylon. Who's getting distracted by chat now?
I can't see the credits. I can't see them, so that's probably all right.
Here I am, always telling Kylie, ignore the chat. I can't ignore the chat. I'm sorry. Chat are amazing. So Galaxy 1, still a fantastic game. Still, is fun as all hell. The Switch 2 version, not worth the money at all.
I can imagine,
It's expensive. Obviously, you can probably pick up a double pack now. It's about 50 quid, isn't it, physical? I can't remember what the digital prices for them are. I still wouldn't pay that much. If they were to go down in price,
60, I think.
Yeah, well, either way, if they were to come down in price, which they won't, because it's Nintendo, I would be more inclined if they were £40, maybe, but even that's still a stretch when I can go and pick up the Wii versions for £10 to £15 and get a HD converter, or, God forbid, I don't know, I rip the disc and play it on Dolphin emulator and then get the 4K upgrades that way. But I wouldn't advise doing that because that's a lot more work. And
you may have to,
legal issues potentially as well.
Escape to the 7 seas and wear an eye patch.
Well, not exactly. If you have a boot dumper basically, and the physical version of the game, there's no legality issues with it there. It's just as long as you don't distribute it. But it's still a lot more work having to then download the 4K patches and all that sort of thing for it. But hey,
of course.
So for ease of use, fine. The price point, no. Me and Mike, we were discussing this over the weekend whilst we were waiting for Nana to arrive. We will get into that story later because it was quite a funny one. But we were discussing it. It was like we both had the same issue with the pointer and the gyro controls, where there was like several instances where the pointer itself on the screen would just randomly disappear. And move around of its own free accord as well, which is stupid. I don't know if you also had this issue as well, but when you got to the edge of a planet or to the edge of like a certain surface, even though you were pressing forward to still go like in the right direction, you would start you would start turning round in circles for no reason.
Yes.
Yeah, it's such a weird quirk that never happened in the original game. I never had that issue
if you
before.
push forward, you would then just go over to the other side of the planet or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is like you push forward and it like kind of goes tries to right itself.
Yeah.
And then just keeps going.
Yeah, but then you take your finger off the control stick and stop it, and then you press forward and it goes off like normal. It's like, this is so strange. So, yeah, it's a bit
Centre
weird.
of gravity, man.
Yeah. I started playing Galaxy 2 a bit more today, and I was playing it mainly in handheld, and I do not like it in handheld at all. I was playing it mainly with the Switch Pro controller. It's so much better that way, but it's still not ideal. But playing it in handheld, I really didn't enjoy it because I tend to not sit straight like that. or down like that, I'm sort of moving a little bit because I can't sit still. Blame the ADHD. Not really, but it doesn't feel right to me. And I had this criticism with the fact that I was playing the Wii version at the same time, or for comparison, and that just felt more solid because it was designed around it. And I'm not as fond of it as I thought I was, but the games still are designed brilliantly because that will never age. Such a great set of games, but these ports are not brilliant, unfortunately.
They're not brilliant, especially at the price tag that they were given. I mean, if Nintendo turned around, kind of like Pikmin 1 and 2 style, which came out around about 30 or 40, I think. I want to say 40, I think. So maybe about 30, 35 pounds.
I believe
30,
it was 35, possibly, because didn't you have it as a double pack? It was like Pikmin 1 and 2.
Yeah, and 2, So it's both games.
Yeah, but that was on the Switch.
I don't think that has the same visual upgrades as obviously Super Mario did or whatnot.
No,
but
not at all.
Still, if it was like that and then people think, yeah, okay, I'll take a punt at it, yeah, that's fine, not a problem. But like when you're asking for like 50 quid on it, it's like...
Yeah, and the fact as well, they were GameCube games designed around like a control method that's not motion controlled. So they actually feel like genuinely decent games to play even without the motions. So you can play them with motions because they had the Wii version of Pikmin 2 as a
Yes, they did. I can't remember, but it's got like a specific name that it had. Yes.
Oh yeah, it was. I remember the series, but I can't remember the actual title that they gave it. But they specifically added motion controls to it. But yeah, it just doesn't feel right to me. And I will go on record and say that Galaxy 1 is still better than Galaxy 2. Come fight me. That is an unpopular opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know... yeah, I mean, some people say, Galaxy 1 or Galaxy 2 and whatnot, but look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I'm not going to fight you. It's too late in the day to, start an argument, mate. This weekend has been hectic on me.
True, yeah, I'll give you that, because you also had to fly out from Spain for this, so... You've had to deal with air traffic control, and that's not usually fun in France.
Nah.
But anyway, yeah.
How you managed to get back from Evo is a mystery, mate.
Well, let's just say there were several delays. That was not fun. But anyway, that's basically been my week, so we're going to move on to the topic of conversation, the main draw of why we're here. We're going to talk about MCM Comic Con London 2025. So... you might be sitting there and asking yourself, what is a Comic Con? Well, a Comic Con is a convention centered around comics, anime, and gaming. This one actually did have some sort of integration with EGX as well. You might not know it, but we can get into that in maybe our discussion about...
will. So. But right now, I'm going to hand it over to you two while I sit here and drink. No, I can't. I was there. I have to talk about it. Damn it.
I know. I was just doing the general spiel and the introductions and all that, and you've just cut my flow. You just take your drink, man. So this event was going on at the XL Centre in London, in the east of London. Between the 24th and the 26th of October. It's a 3-day event. I believe numbers I eluded me for the Friday, but Mike, I believe you said on the Saturday as we left there was roughly 100,000 people there on the Saturday. And
it's been one of their best Comic Cons ever in terms of, numbers, attendees and that. Yeah.
And you would definitely know it when you got in there. My goodness, it was like sardines.
Oh yes. It was mental.
It was crazy. So I'm just going to pass it over to you guys first and give your sort of general impressions of what you thought of, like, anything you want to talk about, whether it be the layout, the way that the queue system worked, or whatever, or just we can talk about those later on. Just give your general thoughts on the show itself. So because I went to Nana first for what you've been playing, I'll go to Mike first on this one.
Oh man. Well, other than it was definitely a show. They did have a lot of brilliant guests there this time around. been, introducing more and more, bigger guests. I mean, there's been a lot of like TV stars and some relatively big movie stars over the years, but these last couple of years we've been seeing more of like the voice actors from video games, not just like comics and anime and all that, but also from video game voice actors as well, which is really, really good, including like the cast of the Mass Effect trilogy and Final Fantasy. Yep. So like remake, retrograde, and the new trilogy, and also like the Sonic games as well.
Well, Sonic games and anime.
And anime, yes. And it's always great to see that, and also to attend these panels as well and listen to their stories and get to familiarize yourself. I mean, I know like when you read articles online or you see videos on YouTube, it's one thing. So, oh, great, that's cool. But to hear it firsthand as well, just bites a bit more. I think
I agree.
You feel a bit more involved with it. It's like, oh, I'm hearing this again, but like for the first time, it kind of feels. As for EGX, I think we will be discussing this a little bit more at length later. I did see there was I wouldn't say there was a huge influence overall. Like, okay, this is definitely like the EGX section. There's loads of like great games. I mean, there was a lot of great games there, but a lot of the stalls and the stands and things were obviously, from folks who've come from like Portsmouth University and I want to say NFTS, which is like National Film and Television
Society.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
Who had a lot of students there that have been working on their projects for 9 months to, get them ready to have at the event.
Yeah.
And then it's like there was no Devolver Digital, there was no, like Thunderfall, and that we've typically seen at these events over the years, and they've kind of sort of just disappeared. I mean, Bandai Namco was there, Warner Brothers was there, but there was no, like Nintendo and PlayStation and Xbox, they've disappeared from these events now anyway. Yeah. And it is a great shame.
And let's preface this by saying that Bandai Namco did have a video game presence there. It was only a select few games, but we have to remember that Bandai Namco's reach in terms of everything else is more massive. So they're a huge presence within anime and comics and figures and all that. So it's not just their, like, video games is not their sole business. Whereas
there was also plenty of merch, and there was like anime like DVDs and stuff like that they had there. So stuff for like Gundam, like Dragon Ball, and a good number of franchises that they have under their encompassed on their reach.
Mm-hmm. So I'll pass this over to Nana. So what's your general impressions of the show? And is this the first? This isn't your first like anime convention, is it?
No, I've been to a couple, but this is my first time going to MCM specifically. But I thought it was like good. I thought there was like a good amount of like mix of things for MCM, but yeah, I feel like there for EGX there was a lot missing, because one of the notable things I found missing was Capcom, because they've been taking their 2026 games basically all around the US for demo, and like I don't know if we're gonna get that now.
No, it doesn't appear that way, but would be nice for them to have shown up, but what can you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a good point, because, like, for example, they were at WAS, wasn't they, about a year or so ago, with, like, Street Fighter 5 and that.
Well,
and
Street
then,
Fighter
like,
6 they were there, which was the pre-release version.
Yeah.
But they did also turn up with other games, I'm sure, in the past. But, yeah, they usually do support these kinds of conventions, like... I also thought it was particularly strange that Square Enix had a bit of a presence in terms of guests, but no actual playable games.
Yeah, that was a little odd, yeah.
Even if they had Final Fantasy VII Remake for the Nintendo Switch 2, which they're, going to be releasing soon, you would have thought that, that would have been a good opportunity. Seeing as they did have it available.
Yeah, and there was advertisements all the way through the show, like, for it, but yeah, they didn't actually have it playable to show what it looked like.
Yeah.
Because everyone else seems to have had it. They've had it at, like, Nintendo showcases, they've had it at, like... in America as well, haven't they, at certain Comic Cons or conventions?
It's like the Tokyo Game Show or something, for example, possibly at like
Gamescom.
I want to say Gamescom.
I'm sure it was at Gamescom.
Yeah. Or it was announced at Gamescom and then it came to Tokyo Game Show, something like that. But yeah.
Yeah. Still, so... Yeah, I mean, this isn't my first Comic Con. I went to the one in May. I think we did might have done a discussion about it then, and where I said it was disappointing. Obviously, there was no game presence there. It wasn't billed as an MCM and EGX, that one. It was solely Comic Con. This one was kind of billed that way. But yeah, I agree with the guys. They had next to no influence whatsoever in terms of any of the merchandise branding. Like, they were very much certain areas within I think it was the south side, wasn't it, of the convention halls, where they had EGX like branding, but it was above everything else. And if you weren't looking up, which, yeah, okay, that's an in-joke between me and Mike throughout the weekend. You wouldn't have even noticed. Like, even like the PC LAN zone had the mildest amount of branding for EGX, and that was it. Like, I think the most that I saw was actually in the retro zone.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, even like the official merch, I mean, everything it says, like EGX and MCM Comic Con. But then when you're actually looking at what they had, everything was all like branded MCM Comic Con. I mean, even the lanyard, which this is another thing. I mean, back when like EGX was still around and doing its own thing, you had branded lanyards. And then, like with Comic Con as well, like we're talking about 2-3 years ago, we had branded lanyards. And then, like this time around, like Pete is showing right now, if you're watching, it's black. It's just a plain black lanyard, with literally nothing else on it.
That's what you got as like the freebie one, but the one that Mike's currently got on is one that he had to pay for, which is MCM branded.
Yeah.
I mean, you only bought it because it's a thing that you collect them, isn't it? So.
Pretty much. I mean, I've got on the back of my door at home probably about 20 or 30 of the darn things from like events that I've been to or my brother's been to, and it's become kind of a tradition with us where if I go to an event and he hasn't, well, I'll get him a lanyard, and if he goes to an event and I haven't, well, he gets me one. So it's kind of a tradition that we're carrying.
And then to swing that on the hand of WASD when it was around, they gave you the free lanyards for that. The Evo France, when I went a couple of weeks ago, they had a branded Evo one, which was great. Same with Evo in Vegas in 2019. It was the same thing. You pay a lot for your ticket, you would expect to have something a little bit extra rather than just a QR code on a thing that says I went. Basically.
I mean, I do like the passes. They're quite interesting. But I mean, it's like you see like the characters on there. Obviously, this is my pass, and unfortunately, I've bent it in the middle there. But they have some very, very unique characters on it, whereas before it would be something a bit more related to what was actually at the events.
Well, actually,
this one around it's like unbranded characters. I mean, I don't know what.
No, these are actually like MCM branded characters. They are made for it because I think the thing they were going for this time around, because it was close to Halloween, is they were going for somewhat scary-ish characters. And some of the stalls or some of the areas, like some of the stages, had like these characters around. So, it was part of the branding, but it's honestly, I didn't think it was that original or that interesting.
No, I mean, like for one panel but one show that I went for Comic Con about a couple of years ago, and they had House Flipper there, or House Flipper 2, and it's like, okay, so you had House Flipper on the thing, which is okay, that's pretty cool, but like if nobody's played House Flipper before, it's like, well, what's that?
Yeah, exactly. It sort of like fits a niche basically.
Yeah.
Whereas I can't remember I think the WASD one was more like, it wasn't such a card like this, was it? It was smaller, but it was like the more of what it was the actual lanyard itself.
Yes.
So whereas they've gone the other way this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, each show is different, and they've got to brand it differently. And probably like the large amount of people that they've got with 100,000 on the Saturday and however many it was, because I think I saw today, or the Sunday one, was like 95% all sold out as well. Yeah. So that's nearly 100,000.
I mean, there was a lot of people, not as much as the Saturday, but there was a lot of people there today as well. And
Friday was still really busy as well, but they didn't sell their allocation. Yeah. So you would imagine that over the course of the entire weekend, they've seen, obviously not taking into account like repeat people who've been there all weekend long. If you were just to solely take the numbers, you've had close to possibly 200,000 to 250,000 people walk through those doors.
I can believe that.
Potentially. So it's a lot of people. And I want to take this moment to say that actually the staff were incredible. Like, every single person was like brilliant. Yeah. The security staff kept everything running really well. The people at each of the particular areas, whether it be like the meet and greet areas, the press people, people running like the panels, like everyone was just really great this weekend. Like, they were enjoying themselves as much as they were.
Very good care of us as well. A lot of them had fun, as you were saying. They're very, very friendly, very, very professional. And there have been times where we've gone to these events and maybe not so much, but this year I think they've really stepped up their game. They did a phenomenal job. I can't mock them for that.
Absolutely. I think it's really telling that the first thing that happens when you go into a Comic Con and the first person you see is a security guard who is very happy and sort of saying hello, who, I mean, Mike, you will know this. Your brother used to work in security. Probably miserable as sin when he was doing security because you see so many people. But yet the person said hello to me and recognised me nearly all weekend long, and it was a bit strange, and would say hello to me as I walked past. I was like, am I being singled out because you think I'm dodgy? No, it's because you're genuinely actually a nice guy.
And you felt welcome as well.
Straight away, yeah.
Welcome to Comic Con, but no, it wasn't like hollow words. It was like genuine enthusiasm. Like,
it was, you
are welcome.
Like, even to the point, like yesterday evening, the Saturday evening when we're leaving, and the guy's got the bullhorn, hasn't he? And he's like directing people down towards like the tube station, and he was like, "Keep on the right hand side if you're going this way. To the left if you're going this way." And oh yeah, I forgot. Have a good evening. Yeah, and it's like. Yeah. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. Yeah, we did walk past and go, "Oh, thank you." You gave one of them a fist bump.
Well, yeah, of course, of course. I mean, if you're taking the time, I mean, one thing that I've always done, like with people that are doing their job, I mean, they are doing their job. Yeah, they are doing their job, and sometimes it's nice to show somebody appreciation for them doing their job. Because then they go home and you think, somebody appreciated me doing that today, and you know what? That's great. And honestly, they saw me. They saw me. They didn't just see a typical person. It's like, oh, well, I did the same with Binmin and all sorts of people. Say, hello, how are you? And have a great day and stuff like that. And thank you for your service. Thank you for your work, because it costs me nothing to say that, but to somebody else, that can mean the world to them. Absolutely,
yeah. I always make it a thing, and this is not just this Comic Con, this or any event. Any event I've been to, when I'm going through my bag check. And the security, like, they have to obviously open the bag. Some of them a little bit on the miserable side, but I do go, oh, good morning.
After you've checked 200,000 bags, it's like, here we go. Because a lot of times as well, especially like with events and things, now same again, they have to check bags. I understand that. That's for the safety of everyone. So I'm already opening my bag and just open it up so they can have a look. And off I go, because if I go, oh no, you can't have a look in my bag, protection and who are you to whatever, well then I'm not dealing with one security guard now, I'm dealing with like 10, because all of a sudden I don't know what's going on with my camera there. I'm moving my hands around too much, perhaps.
Probably.
But then all of a sudden, because you're being, resistant, now you're having problems. You know what I mean?
It's where I was going with this. So I always say good morning, hello, how are you doing, sort of thing. When I went to go and collect the badges, like, because all of them were under my name, like, for everybody. We'll get to that in a minute, because I had 3 to collect and a press pass to collect as well. They could find the 3, and they were like, oh, you've got 4. I was like, oh, really sorry, but one of us had to pull out, unfortunately, due to sickness. That was Kylie. Couldn't make it this weekend. They said, oh, that's a shame. I'm really sorry to hear that. But yeah, here's your free passes. And I was like, oh, by the way, I've got a press one for the rest of the weekend. Can I collect it now? They were like, yeah, of course. They had a little bit of an issue trying to find me, but that was because of issues with me putting the difference between Pete and Peter, and it was like, okay, that one was a little bit strange.
That would be a problem.
I know, but I had a little bit of a laugh with them doing it rather than getting annoyed about it, because I know some people probably would have done, but I just like, oh, well, this is probably me being formal because, like, I'm writing for reviews under this, I guess, and it was, I don't know, I can't remember my thinking behind it, but anyway. But yeah, they were all really nice about it anyway, so yeah, big shout out to the staff. No matter what MCM do, they always hire really good staff to come out and do this.
Oh yeah.
Big shout outs to all the people in the press room, actually, because they were fantastic all weekend long and had to deal with us several times.
And I tell you what, this year has been very, very good, because I've been to the event a number of times now, and there are some that say, oh, we've got, like limited like interview slots and stuff like that, and sometimes not at all. They don't say anything, or maybe they say something to like the bigger, higher up like journalists or top journalists, but this time around, I mean, like for our outlets, it was, hey, we've got like a number of press junket interviews if you'd like to join that or whatever. And it's like, well, actually, I will do, actually. Yes, thank you for thinking of us.
And the annoying thing is I wish I like the way that our email server works for the Rap Reviews UK site. I don't have access to it on an app. I have it on web browser, and it doesn't always work, so I wasn't getting the emails like very well. So I got,
especially when it sort of divides between socials and promotions and whatnot, depending on how you
so I was getting these I checked the emails this morning, and I saw several of the emails come through from the staff saying, we've got this interview opportunity, and I felt really bad because they've obviously reached out and not got anything back from me, and yet I would have signed up for several of them. I mean, I would have signed up for several of them that I went to in the long run had I been able to check them, because the tickets were done through that email address that I couldn't access on the day properly. Luckily, I'd already loaded it up on my browser on my phone anyway, but it was such an awkward pain. So this was like a, please don't forget me next year.
Please don't, please.
Like, anyway.
I did attend, really.
No, I did, because I will be sending the link out to this episode and say, look, I definitely did it. We've got proof.
I can concur.
We've got proof. It's fine. Anyway, so now we're given general impressions, I want to talk about actually what we did across the entirety of the weekend. So me and Mike can obviously go into more details about the Saturday, and Mike obviously more so the Sunday as well. So I'm going to start with Nana on this one, because you were only with us for Friday. So I just wanted you to generally talk about what you saw whilst you were there. And then we'll go into a funny story that happened at the beginning of the day when you came.
So the big thing for me was Friday. I mainly sort of just like was going around and looking around, seeing like what was there. There was a lot of good cosplay, obviously. I did manage to like get in line for Lego Batman, but the line was like very long, so I couldn't play some of that. Code Vein 2 was nice. I did enjoy that one. And there was like a lot of like good booths for like buying stuff, and I did look around the retro markets. I did not get anything yet, so like next time I think I'll do that, but that as well. And I actually went to the Matra Mantra booth, I believe. They host a couple of events like in the year, like they're doing one I think at Square Enix next month, and I got to play Mario Strikers with some people. That game is fun, but like
I did see that. That's like the little tournament setup they set up for everyone, don't they? Yeah, I saw them setting that up on the Saturday and kind of wished I would have got involved. But I mean, it was Mario Strikers on the Switch, so I was like, oof.
I quite enjoy that game. I'm not going to fight you over this, because like I said, it's like I quite enjoyed it, but yeah, it could have been a lot better.
Yeah, I went fishing with that when I caught a big Mike.
You got a big Mike.
I even agree that it's enjoyable. I just wish they updated it more, because they just kept doing that for all the sports games.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I just wish they would have had online multiplayer teams where you could join your actual friends.
Yes. I mean, they have like the league, not the league, like the club. Yeah. And if they had the ability that, like you said, you could join your friends in your like that team, that would have been a lot more fun.
Yeah, for sure.
At least that. I mean, I will go on record to say it's probably one of the better sports games on Nintendo Switch for Mario, rather.
Sure.
Like the Mario sports games, because Mario Tennis, was it Aces or no Ultra Smash? It's one of them.
Aces was on Switch. It was Ultra Smash.
It was Aces. Well, yeah, that's the one. So you've got that one, and then obviously there's another flipping tennis game coming out soon, isn't it? They've decided that for the.
I was going to say bring back do Mario Golf, but the last Mario Golf was terrible.
Exactly, and that was also on Switch.
I know. I'm going to go on. I'll go on record and say Mario Golf hasn't been good since Toadstool Tour. But anyway, that's a divergence. That's a real divergence.
Yeah. Tangent time.
Yeah.
Move it back.
Yeah. Well, there was something else obviously that happened on the Friday, but we'll get into that in more detail soon. So I'm just going to let's go through this funny story, because I preface this by saying that I picked up the free passes for the two gents here and myself. So there was a reason behind doing that, and we'll get to that soon. So I was keeping in contact throughout the day, because I got there early, got through, was doing the rounds. Mike turned up a little bit later than that.
I was otherwise engaged.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that too.
That took you a moment.
Lag.
Yeah, all right, okay. So you turned up a little bit late, which I have to say thank you for obviously what you got. We're not going to talk about it on stream because I don't know if the person. No, I don't know
because you haven't given
there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So
it's a present.
It's a gift.
It's a secret to everybody.
Yes, it is. So you turned up, and then obviously you're trying to ring me whilst I'm in there, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in the cyber power bus, and I'm like, can't get away from not talking to them because I've got a phone call. So it's like, that's cool. So we had arranged obviously that when they turned up, give me a message and we'll meet up. So Mike gave me a message and said, I'm here now. I'm like, where are you? He was like, I'm at N1, which was obviously the entrance for press and all that. So you went to go and get your press pass for the weekend. Mm-hmm. So you could get in quite easily. And I was like, right, I'm on my way. I'll come and meet you. Now, Nana obviously didn't have a press pass. So I'm sitting there going, well, he's going to have to come in, but I've got a pass for him that meant he could go to N1. So I message him, he's like, I'm here. I'm like, perfect. Right, I'll come and meet you by the entrance. And I'm standing there, and by this time Mike's come and joined me, and we're just having a little chat, and we're like, it's got to about 10 minutes in, and we're like, hang on, we should be able to see him by now. And, I mean, obviously Mike's never met Nana in person before this event, and I basically just said, I've met Nana once. He's not hard, he's quite easy to spot. You know Nana, he is very tall. Very tall. So we're like, he shouldn't be hard to spot. This shouldn't be this difficult. So I'm just messaging. Obviously, the signal in there is not the best. So I think there's a bit of miscommunication in the fact that you're not getting messages at the time that I'm getting messages and all that sort of thing. So the next message that comes through is like, I'm at N9. I'm like, oh. Have you gone down the far side to go and get in, or bag checks, all that sort of thing? I'm like, okay, all right, wait there. We will go. So we go outside, walk all the way down, and by all the way down, I mean it is literally like a 10-minute walk down there.
Yes.
So we walk all the way through. Then we have to go through another load of security to get back in. And they were going to do bag checks. And we were like, no, you're fine, whatever sort of thing. Because I think they'd seen that we'd already been in. They also had metal detectors and had probably some sort of X-ray scan that saw bags and could see sort of thing. They had little monitor space. So I then messaged Nana and go, we're in N9. He's like, another 5-10 minutes. And he's like, I'm in N1 now. I'm like, oh, okay. So rather than going outside, we're like, okay, right, we're going through the actual convention middle floor that splits the two. We'll go through. And I'm like, okay, wait there, do not move, we are on our way. So then we get up there, and we're doing the same thing. We're walking around, where the hell is he? What is going on? And I went, are you actually inside? And he's like, yes, I'm by the retro zone, which is right in end 1. I'm like, okay. And I'm sitting there going like, how has he got through? He's not got a pass. What? So, Nana, you have to explain this to us, because I still can't work it out. How the hell did you get through without a pass?
Go on, Nana. I'll let you tell it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so essentially what happened was before even like the thing that happened, that I bought a general pass already. So
right, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happened there was
The pass.
they told me, yeah. What happened was they always send everybody to the back, so I just went back there, and I did get to see like some of the racetrack that they do there in the summer, so that was nice. So I went there, and I thought you guys were there actually.
Okay, yeah. So the miscommunication is we didn't know that you had a general admission pass. So if we would have known that, we would have known, okay, you've gone to N9, but N1 is obviously for like creators, like panelists and
panelists,
like press, and it's like, yeah, the pilot's just put Nana waves hand. You don't need to see my pass. Excellent. So yeah, that's where the confusion happened. But I'm not gonna lie, this was 45 minutes. At least. Yeah. And we're like, how is this guy inside? Like, so by the end of it, I'm like, right, just meet by the bus. Go to the bus and do not move. Yeah. So yeah, we did not. There was so many wires crossed. We didn't know you had general admission pass, and that's why I got the passes for everyone. I was like, had I known that, I was like, you come and find me when you're ready. Just that's it. It was the stupidest thing that has ever happened at a convention, but also one of the funniest.
Yeah. Well, it's like the first time we actually met up, Pete. Now, I have brought this up on the podcast before, and I think it was like one of my first EGX. It must be like 2019 or 2021.
Was it EGX
like, yeah,
or
we'll meet up.
Rezzed?
No, it was definitely EGX then. It was definitely EGX.
Okay, yeah.
And Jack and I were in the queue.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Oh, brilliant! Jack and I are in the queue, right? And then there's this guy. He's got a tall guy, and I've never seen Pete before, and I'm there precisely to meet Pete there. And this guy goes, "Hello." And it's like, I look at him and I go, "Hello." And then Jack and I carry on walking.
Let me interject. Bearing in mind, he is wearing a Miketendo64 shirt. I can clearly see who he is.
Obviously, you never seen Pete, and some strange random person just says, "Hello." And it's not like, "Hi, is that Mike?" Or what? It's just, "Hello."
All right, Mister. I'm socially awkward. It's quite odd doing that sort of thing.
Me too. And then on top of it, I'm like messaging it at you at the same time. Like, Pete, we've just got through. Where are you? It's like, and you must have been like, is he on something? He just completely blanked me, and then he's sending me messages.
The thing was, I never held it against you, but I then brought it up, obviously, when I did meet you, and I was like, hang on, I said hello to you, and then
I died inside that day, okay? Because it wasn't just you. There was somebody else as well, and I did exactly the same flipping thing. I waited for somebody who worked at like Nintendo UK to say, hello, because they were sending us a Nintendo Switch OLED, so I had to see them and meet them. And I was looking for somebody else. It's just like another person came to mind, and it's like, oh shit, it is you. And I'm like, this is not a good first day.
No, it wasn't, but obviously things have evolved.
It makes memories that we can laugh about.
Yeah, because we've met up nearly at every single convention that we've gone to so far, so that we can. Yeah. So it's worked out in that respect. But it was bloody funny, and this one probably tops that story of how unbelievably ridiculous it was. It was like, if you wrote that as a sketch, nobody would believe it.
But that's it, isn't it? Sometimes fact is stranger than fiction. It's like, you wouldn't believe it if I told you, you know what I mean? If I made it up.
Cody's just brought this up in chat. He said, I walked up on Pete at the airport and he was on his Switch or phone, and he looked up and went, wow, you're tall. Totally accurate, by the way. That was when she came over for WSD, and I met her at the Gatwick Airport. And it's like, holy crap! First time I've actually met you in person. I was like, oh, okay. In fact, actually, it was the same thing when I met Nana at that same convention. I went, oh, alright. Wow, you're talking. I seem to have something to do with people with height, clearly. Oh, it's so
I think it's
dumb.
funny for you, Pete, because you're quite a tall person as well. So it must have been, strange for you to meet me, and I'm like, short king here.
Yeah, basically, it was a little bit strange. And then I meet your brother, and it's like, wow, you two really are brothers.
Yeah. The lightness is uncanny.
Pylo's just put, if anyone ever meets me, I shall carry a Ginster's Cornish pasty so you can recognise me. That would be helpful. And then Kylie's put, that was my reaction to Nana as well. Hey, shout out to Short Kings.
Yay!
Right, anyway, so let's divulge away from that, and Mike and we spent quite a lot of the day on Friday and Saturday together, so we can talk about that after what we talk about was the main draw for us on the Friday. Because this was an experience, wasn't it?
It was the 007 First Light panel, was it?
I wasn't talking about that. I know.
No.
So
it
actually,
was in fact.
there was
we
a reason.
did a thing.
We did a thing. There was a reason why I grabbed the passes, so I'll hold it up to the camera. You won't be able to see it; it'll be reversed. But it says Panelist Friday. So the three of us all hosted a panel. Kylie was supposed to be joining us as well. We won't hold it against her. She was unwell. Sorry you couldn't join us. I held the fort down as best as I could as host of it. So the video will be going up on the Rapid Reviews channel on YouTube, so you can go and watch it back. But we won't talk about some of the nature of what we spoke about because we want you to go and watch that. But just wanted to talk about the actual general experience, both pre and post. Because, oh boy, what an experience that was. So
I think I was more anxious trying to get to the event for like, oh wow, I actually got to be on a panel. This is the first time for me. And I hope I can make it to EGX in time because I was the other side of London at the time.
It was,
I obviously had to go to the Nintendo pop-up store in the morning. And to be fair, during my trip, I'd only allocated certain days for certain things. So I was going to go to Comic Con on the Saturday and the Comic Con on the Sunday, and the Friday was going to essentially chill with the family, and so I had to bring half the family with me instead for the Friday morning.
That's fine.
And then it's 2 weeks ago you said, "Oh, guess what? We've been approved for the panel." It's like, oh, well, that's happening.
Yeah, that was the thing. It's
Friday.
I know. I told you all that I was like, I'm going to apply for this panel. We don't know if we're going to get it, but obviously keep the days open just in case. So when they were organising it, and I literally, before one of the episodes a few weeks ago, I was like, just going to go and check the email. Another problem that I had with our emails, and I was like, saw an email from one of the guys who was dealing with all of the bookings, had come through a couple of days before, and I'm like, oh god, we have ignored this. This is not good. So I got back to them and I said, I'm really sorry, I've been away from my phone for a little bit because I've been away.
AFK, away from keyboard.
Well, yeah, and I was like, yeah, we would absolutely love to do this. And they were like, well, is Friday at 4 till 4:30 okay? I went, well, Friday is 4 o'clock is perfectly fine. But can we... And they said we can allocate an extra 15 minutes if you need it. And I went, yes, we'll take the extra 15 minutes. So that was great. Went through a bit of a rigmarole because they were trying to change it to 5 for a bit. And I was like, well, sure, we can do 5 o'clock, but please don't let it be 5 o'clock because I want to go to the 007 First Light panel. So please don't.
Otherwise, this panel is not happening.
Yeah, and then well, it wasn't so much that I was going to go, this panel isn't happening. It would just been we would have missed out on that, unfortunately. But then they were like, well, actually, we can still keep the original time period. That's fine. And it all went ahead. So yeah, we did a discussion on the potential crash of the AAA video game industry and whether indie games can replace that industry when it does. I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed the experience, despite the fact that I forgot how to speak in the first 30 seconds of the panel. Yeah, so I had a moment where I introduced and I forgot that we were at Comic Con and I didn't know how to say it. And I was like, right. Yeah, but anyway, that's neither here or there. I think it was fun. I don't know about you. I thought it was a good laugh.
I enjoyed it, and I did take a lot of your words of wisdom to heart as well, and made sure to, oh yes, the pep talk. Okay, team, we've got this. Actually, it wasn't like that, but on those kind of lines, that kind of energy,
No,
in your typical, dulcet tones that you always have. I felt it more positively.
Good.
The reception came to me more. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad about that because I wanted to give the team a good pep talk, and clearly I can manage teams. Then, good to know. If I ever want to go into another job, I know I can manage someone. Fantastic. Yes. But yeah, so
sir, yes, sir.
that was quite the experience. I was very nervous. You might not have seen that way. I might not have seemed that way, but wow, was I not nervous? Yeah. Was I nervous? Oh dear. But yeah,
I was all right once I got on stage and we started talking. I mean, I've had it a couple of times when I get really, really nervous, and especially when driving. When I was learning to drive, oh my word. Because I was okay, and when I had the examiner in the car, and they're telling me, okay, now, do a parallel park to this side. And it was a really, really tight space. And I managed to get the car in there absolutely fine and get it back out. But then all of a sudden, my leg started going like this.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it would not stop. And it's like everything else was fine, but my leg was absolutely giving it some of that. But
not helpful
panel,
when you got
I was absolutely fine.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah.
So why does it stop starting? Get your foot off the clutch now. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, yeah. So I thought it was a lot of fun, but yeah, we had a decent-ish turnout, didn't we? We had a few moments of community engagement at times when I was doing some bits with asking asking the people that were there to get involved. Didn't have anyone asking any questions at the end, which was fine. We just sort of signed off and called it a day, basically. 5 minutes short, obviously, but that was not a problem. We were quite happy with that anyway.
Yeah, and like I said at the end as well, and I thanked everybody for coming along and listening to us, or whether they were there to just check their phones or to take a breather from the Kong and whatnot. Because there are some people there that are generally interested, and then there was others. I mean, there was about 20 people, I think?
Something like that, yeah. And
which is more than we get on the podcast anyway. But...
I mean, yeah, and the way that the stage was, it's in the middle of the show floor around certain other things that were going to be big draws. So, people at least come in just to sit down and go, okay, even if I need to take 5 minutes to just listen to something or just rest my feet, that was better than nothing. And I appreciated everyone that at least did that, even if they stayed for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or the whole thing. Shout out to Richard who stayed for the whole thing.
Oh, Richard was an absolute legend. Richard Stokes, you are the best, man. You are the man.
Yeah, he was in control of the camera as well, basically, just making sure. He was,
yeah.
Yeah, so that was fair enough.
He didn't fall over.
yeah, we won't talk about that. But we'll also talk about the absolute mad rush that Mike had beforehand, because he talks about the Nintendo store. He also doesn't talk about the fact that he had an interview to do, or a press junket to do, with the cast of Final Fantasy VII that I was also involved with, where I left early to make sure I got there, and he was like, in a mad rush 5 minutes before, was like, I'm here.
The worst thing is when it's like on the opposite side of the building, and it's like, okay, I'll finish up, and then I've got to get there quick.
Oh, that was terrible as well, because you're upstairs in the Excel Centre, you've got to go down in the lift, but you've also got to go with everyone who's been in that room as well and be escorted by the person. Then you've got to try and make your way through some of the security in the side of that, and God knows how many other people were there, and it's like, I'm surprised you made it on time.
I may be heavy, but I can be swift when I need to be.
Good. Yes. Well, that's awesome. So, yeah, that was most of the Friday. Obviously, 007 First Light panel as well. We all joined at the end, and then we called it a day. If you want to check out that panel, I thought it was incredible. I'm sure you guys also thought the same. It was basically all that we saw pretty much from the state of play, but it was just nice to have Chris String interviewing the licensing director for 007 and for IO Interactive, talking about the actual game, and then answering some questions at the end, which was awesome. But yeah, that was basically Friday. We called it a day after that because it was like, bloody exhausted. So, busy day.
And that panel is online now. I've actually uploaded that video with gameplay footage from the state of play. So if anybody was interested in watching it, they can. It's online.
It's on the Miketendo64 YouTube channel, but you can plug that at the end, of course.
Yes, I will. I will do.
So no, this was where your convention came to an end because that was the one day for you. But do you wish that you'd
Please stick around.
Yeah.
Don't leave now.
No, you can go. You're allowed to leave if you... No, I'm joking. You're here for the long haul. But yeah, if based on what you saw in the one day that you were there, would you have bought a ticket for another couple of days if you would have known the full scope of it beforehand?
I think I would have, yes, because there was a lot of things there. I think I would have bought another ticket and explored the floor more. I think so.
Sure. So maybe for next time, have a look into that, and then we can all hang out all weekend long like me and Mike did, and then you'll be sick of me by the end of it.
No, not at all.
Look, self-deprecating
I
humour
missed you on Sunday.
Oh, you...
I missed you today. I mean, I got to hang out with Jack today. That was fun.
I missed
my brother Jack.
I missed out.
Oh, it's Jack you missed, not me. Yeah.
I know. Sorry, the other thing
you're trying to break his audio-visual equipment.
I hope you cut that out on the podcast, by the way.
Oh, he's not going to watch it. He dropped the camera the day as well himself, so it's fine. It was in the bag. He put the bag down, and then it went boom. Inside the bag, he put his rucksack down because he needed to go to the bathroom or something. He put it down, and then the bag went boom, and he heard boom, and you think, oh my god.
I don't know whose.
Went, oh, it's fine.
I don't know whose was worse then. His was at least covered then. But yeah, the only other thing I did on the Friday, actually, I forgot to mention, was that I had a sit-down chat with two of the people from Jackbox Games and did an interview with them. I'm going to be the first to admit that the sound quality is a bit ropey. I had major issues with this. Let's just get into it now quickly, because it was probably the most annoying experience I've had doing an interview with anyone. Don't get me wrong, two guys that I interviewed, Tim and Avery, they were fantastic. Very personable, very understanding. This was solely on me, and I hated it for it, because I brought 3 devices with me. I brought my tablet, I bought my main phone, and I bought a backup phone, because I know I've had issues trying to record. I also bought the microphone I currently record on, because it's an excellent microphone. We've used it before at WASD when we did some recordings there. There's multiple settings that you can use that can pick everybody up. Now, I had the issue where I couldn't get the microphone working on my phone. On my tablet first. Then on my main phone, which is that one there, the one that I use for everyday things, and then the backup phone I have, which is usually solely for going to conventions, doing recordings on, because it's got decent memory on it, and I know it works. So I brought it along with me. I was like, oh, for God's sakes, none of this is working. I then discovered that there is a something that's come off on my microphone, meaning I cannot change the setting to actually be the 360 audio that it should have. So for those watching, I'll move it up. You can see the microphone all the way around. Yeah, annoying as all hell. So didn't actually work properly. What a pain in the arse. So I'm literally sitting there with the microphone arm on the desk, literally asking my question and then passing it to them, like literally throwing it around like that. And also, because I'm an idiot, I didn't know where the press room was. and I couldn't find it for love nor money. So we did it out on the bloody show floor, at their booth, right next to them showing off the game. So when you go back and listen to it, all you can hear is mostly the game. It was ridiculous.
Mate, if you're still in contact with them, then maybe, pop them a line and do a separate interview.
I might see if I can do another quick chat with them, because I'm sure
they'll be more than happy, even if you was to record it. Obviously, if it's not, they can't come on for the podcast itself. Maybe doing an interview and then sharing it to your YouTube or something.
Well, that's what I was probably going to do as well, and I'll just say that to them. I've tried my best to clean the audio up as best as I can. I just don't know if it's releasable, which is the most annoying thing. They did see that I was having so many issues, though, so I think they might be a bit more understanding. So I will try my best to get it out. If people want to listen to it, good luck. Like, it's not great listening. I'd feel bad about putting that out. So apologies to Tim and Avery, because, man, they were great. They were really cool. Like, really, really cool people.
I mean, is it audible enough to understand what they're saying, or not at all? Because you might be able to put it through, like, speech to text and maybe get it that way, and then have it as a text interview.
I mean, I could do that. I'll give it a try. I might try and see if I can translate it or transcribe it in some degree. And do it that way instead. But if I can try and get them back and do it over the internet, I'll do it. But yeah. Man, that was an unfortunate side of things, but hey.
It happens, mate. I had a similar issue. Well, I've had a number of issues with technical stuff over this weekend as well, which sometimes it just happens. It doesn't matter how prepared you are. There's always going to be something that pops up.
I then told Mike and Nana about this before I jumped on. Guess what I found at the bottom of the bag? The cap for the thing that meant that I could change the setting.
Yep.
Christ. So yeah, not a good start to press ideals for Friday. And then on top of that, I dropped Mike's camera in the Final Fantasy. Yeah, I am a
Fortunately, it wasn't
idiot.
a big drop or whatever. It was just sort of, but
it wasn't.
I think your heart dropped heavier.
I nearly left the room. I am in a room full of press people. They're supposed to be professionals, and I drop a camera. What a fool.
Which was just after saying, I've got, in media studies.
I did this for media studies years ago. I'm good. I know what I'm doing. Bomb. Let it be known, I also did it in media studies as well. I wasn't the only one. Stupid tripods. Kylie's just said you could use AI to clean it up. I might try that, actually. I'll see what I can do. Anyway, so... yeah, let's get on to Saturday, because Saturday there was some interesting things, let's say. Mike, I'll pass it over to you, because you had some press junkets that you did.
Yes, we did.
Well, you did, that I tagged along in.
It was it was a mutual thing, mate, and I was happy to have you there as well for, emotional support and, doing these things together.
We do. We collaborate on many things across, because both indie publications, have to help each other out, and we're mates. Exactly. We just do what we can. So I said to you, I was like, well, I'm happy to just go along and give you a hand if you need it, because you didn't have Jack with you. So they were like, they didn't question anything. I had my press pass. It was no problems. So it's not like I was trying to scope my way in doing nothing. No. But they were more than happy for me to just sit in. They didn't even ask my name. It was like, I'm Pete, but I'm here to help Mike out, like, more than anything.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately, because of the way that the questions were, now when it came to like the Final Fantasy panel, I did, because that was almost like a last minute thing, and it's like, oh, okay, then, well, this is going to happen. If I'm going to do any interviews here, I may as well do that. And I didn't read the whole thing. It's like, okay, this is going to be, it essentially did become a press junket.
Yeah,
but I had
thought it was like a one-to-one interview, basically.
Yeah. So I said, well, so I didn't go in with like nothing. It's like, oh, okay, well, what are we going to ask them? I said to Jack, if you've got a few questions or whatever, because I think he has played at least Crisis Core and Ever Crisis, and he has played a number of Final Fantasy games, and I think he has played 7 as well at some point.
Sure.
So I asked him to, get some questions up, and of course there was a number of questions that were sort of directed at certain actors, but because there was like all 4 of them, and it may maybe you get a question in or whatever, I wanted to get a question that I could ask all of them rather than just like one person. Oh, this is just for you, because I mean, they're taking their time to come and sit and, talk to us and, answer our questions. But I don't like to single one particular person out. It's like, oh, I only want to talk to you when, everybody else, it doesn't matter kind of thing. So I was like looking through the questions. I think, which one can I ask all of them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was a cool experience. Obviously, talking to just listening to the voice actors of Kasef, Barrett, Tifa, and Aerith, which was awesome.
Aerith, yeah.
So that was cool. So the Saturday, the one that you did was the voice actors for Sonic and Shadow and Silver from the Sonic series.
Yes, it did, and that was a very, very interesting one, because now I don't have a lot of. Now I have played a lot of the older Sonic games. I'm not a huge Sonic fan, I will admit. I did just like these games before, then I sort of came away from them, and then there have been a number of games that just weren't great, like Sonic Forces in the beginning and whatnot, and it's I'm not going to dip my toe into these. So I went into that, and that one I just did not have any questions to ask, because I did not grow up with them, unfortunately, so it's not like I've become accustomed to listening to their voices, even though they probably voiced characters in games like Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, and the last Sonic Racing Crossworlds that came out as well. So they most likely lend their voices to these characters in these games. So yeah, and then I was kind of I went in because I think Sonic, Roger Craig Smith, that's what I'm associated with, and I know he's been at Comic Cons and that before, so it's okay, so we got these guys who are voice characters for Sonic. It's okay. Okay, great, well, I'll do it anyway because it's Sonic and it's content, and that'll be great to listen to them. But it's we're sitting there, and then they're talking about necklaces, like shell necklaces, and the ones that they're wearing with a jeweled Sonic on a cross.
So Nana, you would definitely know the Sonic Ices.
Yes.
Yeah, the actors had those, and they were freaking awesome. And then one of them also had Sonic on a cross, and it was oh boy. He even said that he was surprised he was going to get cancelled for that one. So, which was also quite funny. They were cool. They were very personable, and I thought they were.
Everyone is
hilarious.
welcome in the Church of Hog.
Yeah.
The Church of Sonic.
Yeah, it was. They were fantastic. They had really good chemistry between the two of them, and they were just fantastic.
They did. It was great. It was great to listen to them, and to hear their stories, and their how they get into characters and stuff like that, and the banter they have between them. And it's we're listening to this, and then John Bernthal is just casually walking on the balcony, having a conversation, probably talking to his agent, because I think he's in London filming, and I don't know if he is filming for Spider-Man Brand New Day or something.
Who knows?
But there was talk about that before, a lot of stuff on the internet. So I can imagine that he was okay, well, you're in London, why don't you go to this? So it just seemed surreal that we're video games here, and then it's oh wait, that's John Bernthal, that's the Punisher walking by.
And obviously very, very typically for a Hollywood star, he's in the middle of London in an October that's not exactly warm, but he walks past in a t-shirt, a pair of jeans, and a pair of sunglasses.
Maybe he was in character for Frank Castle. Who knows?
That's very possible, yeah. So that was cool, but obviously that's nothing to do with Sonic.
No,
Mike, was this the one where you forgot to put your boom microphone on?
Yes, that's the one. That's the one that I've... So the boom microphone didn't work... No, Sonic was okay. Sonic was okay.
All right. So this one you got
Sonic
double audio.
Sonic was all right. I got double audio.
Because I bought my wireless microphones.
Hold on. Right. Let me restart. So I've got 2 recordings for Sonic. There's the one that was on the camera, and then there's the one that I did on my phone. Yeah. And it was the one on my phone that didn't have the audio for some reason.
Yeah, that was
I don't know if they had the microphone in it. So obviously I asked you if you could send me the audio because you did catch it as well. And this is the really stupid thing, because obviously I recorded with the big camera on the tripod further back, but the smaller one was actually on the table right in front of the voice actors. So, you get this great big, this great view of the two of them, talking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this would be better to upload than the other video, because obviously that camera's a bit further back.
Yep.
And of course the audio didn't come through. Now that is on the other camera, and I don't have the equipment here to mess around. No. I don't have my computer here to take the SD card out to put it into my thing, or the cables to connect things up to my phone. But because you had access to your computer, you could clean up the audio, send it to me, and I had like a video editor on my phone that I could merge the two together.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that this morning.
And that was lucky, because the Friday I forgot to bring these wireless microphones, which would have been really, really helpful. And yesterday, or the Saturday, was when I brought them along and I stuck it on the desk right in front of them, which is right next to your phone. So it was perfect. Yes. I mean, we weren't the only ones. We even made a joke with the other people there. It was like, this feels like a sporting event where everyone walks up and puts their phone on the desk. And then yeah. Because then the journalist from The Escapist also then walked around and put their phone out on the desk as well after everyone else had done it. It was like, okay. And I had a good chat with the two people from The Escapists, and they were very cool. They were very nice.
Yeah, well,
telling us how to get into the industry.
Again this afternoon. She's
one?
only just started. The lass.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah, very, very, very cool people.
Yeah, the one who was like sat behind us.
Yes.
She's only just said that this was like her first like real gig for The Escapists.
Yeah, I think
then there was the other lad that came in afterwards who was there for the event anyway, and he was in cosplay, and then all of a sudden he got the job, and it's like, oh well, I've got to work now. Yeah, and that's gonna be interesting, going around interviewing people while I'm in full feminine cosplay, it was a stunning cosplay, I must admit.
they got complimented on their cosplay by the actors, which was awesome. So, but yeah, they were very cool. Like, they were both relatively new to The Escapist, and they were actually quite happy to answer questions about how they got in, like before obviously the actors came in. So thank you to them for obviously answering my pretty stupid questions. But hey, that's fine. We just had a nice chat. It was good.
Yeah.
It was nice, actually, that, slightly bigger publication, despite them being relatively new, were willing to talk to us because we're in a room and just doing the same thing. It was nice. Actually, very nice interaction for once. Yeah, because
as I spoke to her this afternoon, because as we was finishing up for the event, me and Jack went up to the press room and, did another episode of our gaming chat to, talk about the events of the last couple of days. Mm-hmm. So like finishing off from the Saturday when I recorded with you, and then like earlier today as well, and she was in the room, and we spoke and talked to her at the same time as well. And she said that she did write for other editorials as well, which have unfortunately they've gone down now, and now she's writing for The Escapist, and it's writing up reviews and things like that. So it was good to to talk to her as well.
And then
because this is not an easy industry.
Absolutely not. But also the lady that we spoke to like on several occasions throughout the weekend, who was sat in the press room. I can't remember her name, unfortunately, but she was. I
want to say it's Asha. I have got the card somewhere.
Something like that, yeah. But she was really cool, and I really enjoyed our interactions. So, if you happen to be watching this, then hello. I will be reaching out to you because I'd love to have you come on the show at some point, because you and Kylie would get on like a house on fire.
Oh yes.
But I'll be reaching out anyway. But that was cool. So yeah, the interactions we had with the rest of the press outlets this weekend. Unbelievable. Very, very good. So can't fault them enough for that. I want to talk about the main thing that we did on Saturday, because this was a dream come true, let's say, to some degree. I say to some degree, to every degree. But we have to preface some of it after the fact as well. So we did the 25 years of Free Radical Design and Perfect Dark panel. Oh, wow.
So I am going to swear in a minute. I am going to swear. But
please do not swear. This is Big Brother. We are live on Channel 4. Please do not swear.
Please do not swear. Okay, well, it's pre-scripted, but yeah, I'll try to bleep out the word.
Okay. Go for it. So, yeah, this was a panel that was had between Chris String of Games Industry, who was hosting, and the 4 gentlemen that were on the panel was Dr. David Doak, Graham Norgate, Steve Ellis, was it? No?
Yeah.
And...
No. I would tell you, I mean, their signature is on my thing, but because it's a scroll...
I cannot remember, but anyway, so, yeah. It is what it is. So, Graham Norgate, Steve Ellis, Carl Hilton, and David Doak.
Hilton, yeah.
So, yeah. The 4 main players who split off from Rare halfway through the making of Perfect Dark before it had released to then go and create Free Radical Design. So they were talking about their ideas, inspirations, and how they came up with Perfect Dark, how it felt to leave the project in between to then go and form this radical studio with only 4 people to start with, and how they created the Time Splitters series. They talked about obviously how Time Splitters wasn't their original game that they were pitching. It was actually a game called Redemption, I think it was. Which then went on to become Second Sight. But they were known for multiplayer games, and they put out a multiplayer game because they could. They got access to the PS2 development kit and put together a game really quickly, got it out for launch, and then built the series from there. And then talked about obviously
and how they were told no, we want this particular game, game, and then they went kind of like over their heads to Sony, Sony says, no, we want that one. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, it was the fact that they were partnering with Eidos at the time, and Eidos were like, no, we want Redemption. This is the game that we signed the contract for. And then they went... They described it as a... Chris String actually said it in the best way possible, and it was fantastic. Yeah. It was like, so you didn't get the response from your dad, so you went to Mummy Sony, basically. It was like... It was like, and yeah, Sony were like, we want this, fine, okay, and they overruled Eidos like in that respect. It was like, okay, well, Eidos still got Second Sight, but obviously had to contend with the fact that Time Splitters 1 and 2 then came out. But hey, it is what it is. Like, a game like that took a little bit longer, and oh my god, the story that Graham talked about, one of the sound design things, was absolutely beautiful. So, Nana, I don't know if you were there. You weren't there for the panel, obviously. So they were talking about how... so Graham talked about a funny story. So Graham Norgate is the sound designer and composer for the Time Splitters series. Had done sound design at obviously Rare as well for Perfect Dark, GoldenEye, and worked with Grant Kirkhope as well. I think he said he started out on Killer Instinct, actually.
He did, yes.
So he said that he goes a bit method sometimes, and he puts far too much passion and far too much like thought into some of the things that he does. So the story that he told, it was like he wanted a really authentic sound for something. So just on a whim, him and his mate went down to the local off license, bought a couple of cans of lager, drank them, and then threw them on the floor and recorded them, and they made it into the game because the clang of the beer cans sounded right for something. And he said it didn't have to be a beer can or lager, but we felt like it had to be lager. The way he described it is just absolutely brilliant. It was so funny.
It's because they got a couple of like cowboy characters or something like that.
That was it. Yeah.
Like a bit of a drunk and So because they're drinking or whatever, and they throw the can, so they recorded the sound of the can in true, Foley artist fashion.
It was. He said I went very very method actor with that one. It was so stupid. It was the stupidest story I've ever heard, but it was so funny.
I mean, the one with Grant was a very interesting story, but that was for the panel when they did like Banjo-Kazooie.
I wasn't there for that one, unfortunately.
Oh, you missed that one.
Yeah, I did.
Well, he was talking about how he met Miyamoto.
Oh
right?
no!
Shigeru Miyamoto, and apparently they were in the toilets or something, and he'd gone up behind like one of the other developers and like pantsed him basically.
Oh my
like,
god!
Miyamoto walked in, and it's like, what the hell is going on here? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of those kind of stories.
There is.
Oh, another one was for the GoldenEye panel when what they do to like get the sounds from like when being shot. They had one of the developers in a suit basically, and a wetsuit it was, and they would beat the crap out of him. So you go, that was painful. So they got all these kind of wacky stories over at Rare.
Oh god, and it's the one
they can't get away with now.
It's the one that they talked about as well, where they recorded so many weird like interactions for Perfect Dark that they didn't think were ever going to get in. And it's like where one of the people dies, like you can shoot them through a window, and then their mate comes up and it was like, he was my best friend.
Best friend. Just random stuff. But then he said because he'd finished his part, and then somebody else came in, and they just thought that was meant to go into the game, because obviously there's no like communication afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what is all this extra sound bites that we got here?
Oh,
and it's like, all right, and it goes.
Well, that's clearly got to go in. So that's how it is.
Yeah.
It's just so weird that those four guys were amazing. Anyway, so that then led on to. Let's talk about the slightly crazy story that we had afterwards.
Oh boy.
I say crazy, but it wasn't the most crazy.
No, it wasn't. Well, so we're waiting in the queue, aren't we? We're waiting in the queue, and I'm saying, the things we're going to get signed.
I meant before that. How we walked around the convention hall looking for a game seller because you wanted to pick up a copy of Perfect Dark for your mate, and I just so happened to forget that I had copies of Time Splitters 2 and 3 at home that I forgot to bring, so I'm scrambling to try and find a copy of Time Splitters to get it signed. And I'm trying
to find literally anything Perfect Dark related. Yeah. The only thing we could find was the game, and it's like, okay, well that's going to have to do.
So,
and I'm trying to get in contact with my friend back in Spain, because like, hey, so look, this is the only thing that I can find. Is this going to be okay to get signed? Because he's already got the copy of the game, and I actually brought this up with him before, and I said, look, I'm going to go there. I've got a copy of the game at home. I've got a picture. I've got the reprod box. If you want me to get any of these things signed for you, and then the next time I see you, well then you can have them and you give me your other copy or whatever. He said, no, don't worry about it. Find something at the convention and they'll get that signed. They're sure to have something. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah or no. Yeah.
And the funny thing is that when we picked up this copy of Perfect Dark, there was 2 copies there in box, and you look at one of them and you're like, the first one was like, it's not the best at all. And it's like, don't know about this one. Then the second one's come up, and it's like slightly more expensive. But we open it up and like looking at the manual. So the first manual is a bit busted. It's not in the best condition. So Mike's like, don't know about this one. So I pick up the other one. I pick up the open the box up, and then check the manual. Look at the manual. The manual looks fine. Looks great actually. And then I notice that there's another little leaflet thing that comes with it about registering your game cartridge, which is something that used to happen quite frequently. Mm-hmm. It just so happened, and the way it worked out was completely random. And the fact that you bought it then went on to cement the fact that it was meant to be. But the leaflet itself was in Spanish.
And I'm trying to bring it out now.
Yeah, so
people can see. So this is proof.
So Mike is usually based in Spain. So it felt like fate that he had to get one that had a Spanish leaflet in it.
Here it is. There
you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the most random thing of all time. And the funny thing was, because I'd forgotten the copies of my game, forgetting, I never, I own Time Splitters 2 and 3. I own Time Splitters 2 on PS2 and Xbox, and Time Splitters 3 on Xbox. So I'm like, I should have brought them with me. So I went and picked up the copy of Time Splitters 1 for the PS2, which wasn't actually in my collection. Which, I don't know why it was only £5 when it sold the least amount of copies.
Hang on.
Out of the series.
Hang on.
What?
Hang on. Dude, I've been ripped off.
Have you?
I've just found this in the box.
Oh.
What does that say there?
£22.
£22. Yeah.
How much did we spend at the event?
40. Oh, wow.
Does that not say 40 on the box?
It does say 40.
Sign off!
I can't say I noticed that at all in there. Oh my god.
That literally just fell out of the box. Now, we opened it before.
Yeah.
We opened it, and it says here, Perfect Dark 18 with manual, box, X-Pack game, Nintendo 64 software, yeah, everything on
Does
there.
it also say a date from CEX on that one by any chance? Because it could have been a few years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be, but the part that's up here says 29th of April, 2025.
Oh my god.
Someone please quote this.
On the plus side, it is now signed, and it's probably now worth it.
I was also going to get to that because they did a meet and greet after the fact. So we're standing in the line and we're talking about a load of things. Obviously, like the guys in the line, absolute diehard Time Splitters fans, diehard Perfect Dark fans. Just talking to them, they were all awesome. Like one guy was talking to me about the difference about the Korean version of Time Splitters 2 that he wish he had, because it's one that was like translated from English to Japanese and then into Korean after that from the Japanese version, and boy, there's a lot of issues. So that's quite a deep cut. I was like, I don't know any of this is ridiculous. So we were talking to them, and then Mike comes up to me and like says to me, it was like, oh well, David Doak's here, like I want to get him to sign my pass and then pass it over to me so that I can get into the facility, because the deep lore
so I was
is
going to say to him, time to leave, Dr. Doak.
and
then he would say, here, you take the pass. So of course,
because it's from GoldenEye, obviously, because David Doak is because Dr. Doak is in GoldenEye as one of the scientists.
Yes, that you have to meet in order to get into the facility, and he passes you a card,
a key card.
Yeah. So I was going to do that, and then I got waylaid with something else, and Pete straight in.
I was like, I didn't do the line. I was like, can you just pass it back over the desk to me? And he looked at me, he was like,
I need to get into the facility.
And then I went, and now I can get into the facility. And he went, oh, of course. And absolutely cracked up with laughter. It's like...
And me, in true Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting, son of a... He stole my line.
But it obviously comes down to the fact that we did meet them. You can...
Yep.
So I got my pass signed by all four of the lads, as well as my signed copy of Time Splitters 1. So
that had to be great for you guys, though, because
amazing.
He talks a lot about how much he loves Time Splitters quite a bit,
and also Graham Norgate on his head.
I've got that as well signed. I'm going to give that to my friend, and he's going to really appreciate that.
Yeah, that was a dream come true. Like, because my God, Free Radical Design shaped my childhood. I told them that as well. I was like, the music, like, as an absolute set of bangers, like, they have no right to be as good as they are, but they are. Like, the games themselves were just ridiculously fun, and like, I said, like, this shaped my childhood. Like, Time Splitters was the first game that I owned on the PS2 and played on the PS2. Like, that one Christmas when I got it in 2000, and it's been a love affair ever since. I then got to ask them what their favourite multiplayer maps were, and I'm afraid to say that Dr. Doak is the only one who got the right answer by saying Chinese, of course. And he even said the reason why, because of the split levels, the outside to the inside, like, transition, and also the way that the music just comes in when you start dun, dun, dun. And yeah, it's just unreal.
Do you know the problem with that, though? Do you know the problem with that is every time you have Chinese, in half an hour you need another one.
Which is why I probably played that map several times over. I even said that to him. I was like, when me and my mates would play it, it was like, oh yeah, let's just start off random talk, like gun set on Chinese, and then it was like a few maps later, it was like Chinese, yeah. So yeah, it was freaking awesome. But I also then got to ask Graham, why is Anaconda such a banger when it has no right to absolutely be this good? And for those who don't know what Anaconda is, it is the tiny little mini game that is accessible in the Siberia level of Time Splitters 2, and it is literally just a cheap knockoff clone of Snake. And it has got the most ridiculous music to it, but it's such a banging tune. For those who need to go and listen to it, go up on YouTube, just search Time Splitters 2 OST Anaconda, and Jesus Christ, it's an earworm, quite literally.
Yeah. But then again, it's the same guy, and also Grant Kirkhope as well, and they worked on like GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, and it's got some absolutely amazing songs in those, and the magic that they did to get them onto the cartridges. Now, obviously, they had a bit more freedom when it came to like the CD-ROMs and stuff like that for like PlayStation 2 and that. But like the magicry that they had to do to try and compress them enough to get them on these cartridges, and still sound so good. I mean, like the GoldenEye Pools music had no reason to be as good as it was.
Yeah, and that I've seen so many TikToks come up of that recently, where they're like, just make a really average, like typical song, and then it just whacks into that, and they're just sitting there like. Dun, 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 and they're like, why is this such a banger? It's like, it is, because it's an amazing piece of music. It's just the level of like detail that they put into those kinds of games, and it's like, holy shit! It was a dream come true. So that is taking place on my mantelpiece forever.
He will play to it every night before he goes to sleep.
Sake. My Anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun. Amazing. But yeah, so that was basically the Saturday, wasn't it? Because we walked around, did some browsing, did some other bits like after that, and then got to meet your sister again, and a few of you little gaggle of people that you usually do convention runs with, and then we went home, and that was it. And it was like, okay, I'm not coming back on the Sunday. I am exhausted.
And I'm like, I've got this all again tomorrow.
I know, yeah. Like, I didn't have anything planned on the Sunday, like any panels or anything like that as well. We've missed something. I've just realised that we missed something big on the Friday.
We had missed something big. Marioki.
We missed talking about Marioki.
We missed talking about Marioki, which is just as well because we was deaf after it, or at least half.
But
it was great.
I mean,
it was great. So absolutely brilliant.
We'll briefly touch on it and just basically tell you what it was. If you want to know more about it, we did go into a bit more depth on the Game Chat podcast. So free plug for you there to do so. So it was basically multiplayer Mario Kart. Random participants from the audience. Where the music from the game was actually being played by a live band, and it was awesome. And we were deaf as hell.
I
afterwards.
really wanted to hear Rainbow Road, the Nintendo 64 Rainbow Road, because I absolutely love that song.
Me too. It's my favourite in the entirety of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
I mean, I used to curse the actual circuit on the Nintendo 64, but in the Mario Kart 8, it's peak.
Yeah, I don't like the 64 version of it because it's too long and it's 3 laps.
Yeah.
But it's amazing in 8 Deluxe. It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, but if you want to know more about it, go and check out Game Chat podcast, the one that we did on the Saturday.
And also, if you're based in London, they have got a number of like concert things that they are doing, haven't they?
Yes, they have. They've got one in a couple of weeks' time as we're recording, I think. Somewhere, it's in North London somewhere, I think, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So, anyway, this is where I'm going to shut up and let Mike talk about the Sunday experience.
we are gradually slipping off because obviously Nana was Friday, you were mostly Friday, Saturday, and now it's just me. Okay, I'm the last man standing now. So yeah, today, as of recording this episode, I had the Mass Effect or behind the scenes of Mass Effect panel, and also The Boys. So I got to see the likes of Cole Urban, Tomer Capone, Karen Furukawa, and Laz Alonso. And if I've said any of those names wrong, I am terribly sorry. I am awful at that. And that was a really, really great panel to hear a lot of the anecdotes. And, you know, I've been watching the series since series one, when it came out, I think before the pandemic even. And now that it's going to be wrapping up for season 5 next year, and just watching the chaos and the mayhem of that show. And then you listen to them, because obviously in the show, Butcher, for example, is a very, very vocal person. He's uses a lot of strong language. And then you got Carl Urban here, who's, you know, talking very, very, you know, smoothly and softly. And it's like, that doesn't sound like Butcher. And then, like, one of the questions that was mentioned, because obviously they spoke a lot about the show and the stuff that they've had to do, and like when they're reading scripts and saying, "Oh, this is going to happen." There's a particular episode called Herogasm, and something happens, and you know, stuff like that. And it's like, oh dear. And then another one involving a boat, and how Jack Quaid doesn't like boats. And he's got a safe word to say, you know, if it gets too much for Cole Urban to stop the boat. And of course, Cole can't hear over the engines. He didn't stop and just kept going. and Jack Quaid has gone absolutely white in the face. Is like, and that was just absolutely brilliant. You know, and they're constantly, you know, just talking about all this wild stuff. Then for the Mass Effect panel, which was really, really great, because, you know, these games. But it came out almost about 18 years ago, the first one.
2007, wasn't it? So nearly 20 years at this point.
Near 20 years. So, you know, they were talking about it and how, you know, they're very, very thankful for the fans, you know, and if they've got any interest of, you know, what they want to see in like Mass Effect 5, because obviously them as voice actors and whatnot have no real power what BioWare does with the company and all that. But if the fans, you know, send emails and, you know, really say, look, we want this to happen, and, you know, we want these guys to come back and reprise their roles and stuff like that, then, you know, power to the people to get that done. And also it was mentioned a number of times about AI. And how AI would affect voice acting and stuff like that. And Jennifer Howell put it very, very well. And she said, and basically reiterates, you know, what we have always said, that AI is great to use as a tool. Now, I can use this tool, it's much like a hammer. I can either break someone's kneecaps with it, or I can use it to build a house. You know what I mean? So I can use it as something that can, you know, help me as part of my career, but it shouldn't, you know,
yeah, you can't use a hammer to build You can't use a hammer to support your house, let's say. No. You can use it as a tool to help build your house. Yeah,
but it won't support it financially.
No. Or structurally.
That's got to be done by, you know, or structurally, yeah. So, you know, there's a lot of that, and, you know, then their anecdotes as well. And, like, some things that you've never really picked on before. Like there's one, I think it's Alex Wilson, and she got a surname. And now I've only ever heard her really in Mass Effect, and she plays a character in the third game. So she came in much later in the series. So she came in the third game. But her voice, she did a lot of voice work in commercials and things, like when we're growing up. And one of them was for like Diet Coke.
Like, wow! Okay.
I do know that voice. You know what I mean? And then, like, the interviewer casually pulls out a bottle of like Diet Coke to drink, and it's like, ah. He says, "I did my research."
That's amazing.
So, you know, it's just all this great stuff. And then, like, obviously, there's people that absolutely killed it with their cosplays. Which I've been to a number of these Comic Cons. I've never really seen Mass Effect cosplays. But they were all out in force today, and it was absolutely great to see.
Yeah, I saw a couple over the weekend anyway, but there was probably loads
for like previous events. I mean, there'll be somebody who may have a Mass Effect T-shirt or a hoodie or something like that.
That was just your sister.
Well, that was my sister, and that's her at every Comic Con. But I mean, for like other people to see events. But like this weekend, it was been full Mass Effect, and I absolutely love it. You know, seeing them all in full costume, and Some have really
That's
outdone
awesome.
themselves, and also the other cosplays as well have been absolutely brilliant, especially for like the boys and for other characters. I know a lot of them are like anime, and some that I've never seen in any games or animes or programs or whatever. But the amount of effort to detail,
there was,
and the attention to detail
loads.
is just amazing. So everybody, all shapes and sizes, they really knocked their outfits out of the park, and kudos to them for the courage that they have. I mean, obviously when you've done a few of these events and things and you become accustomed and used to that, because obviously you don't just walk out in the middle of the street dressed up in a full cosplay or whatever. It's normally they're very much like us. They're very, very introverted people who would never even think about stepping outside and wearing this. But when it comes to these events and things, and they're among their peers basically, they're allowed to freely blossom, and it's absolutely beautiful to see.
Yeah, there were some really, really cool cosplays this weekend that we saw. I'm sure Nana's seen a fair few of them that he recognised and really loved. The one that I particularly really liked, and we did get a picture of it, was the Doomslayer from Doom the Dark Ages, minus the shield, but
minus the shield, which you did bring up with him, and then he went to take his helmet off and said, "No, don't take
ruin
the
the allure."
That ruins the
it was awesome. It was also the second Doomslayer that I did see over the weekend, because I saw one not long before that who was also particularly good.
Oh yeah, there's a more of like a retro style like Doom guy there.
Yeah.
I think I saw over there.
And that one was the more recent iteration, which was awesome. But I saw so many good ones as well. And yeah, it was brilliant. Like that's the one thing I do really enjoy from like Comic Con, is how much effort people put into it as well. Like of all shapes and sizes, you see costumes and cosplays from all over the scope of video games, comics, manga, anime, the whole lot. It's superb to see. God forbid what anyone else thinks in London, like when they see someone walking up and that kind of stuff. But it's like, whoa, okay. But yeah, like Mutt said, amongst your peers, like it is pretty awesome.
I mean, the good thing about it as well is, like I've said to a number of times to you, Pete, over this weekend, it's like, but trying to get back from West London over to obviously EGX and XL, which is like more East London. Yeah. So I was like, I'm getting on a bus now. I'm not very familiar with London at all, and it was the very, very first time for me to be in Shepherd's Bush. And it's like, okay, now I need to get from here, and I need to take a train to get to there and whatnot. So I got my brother, sending me messages on how to get there. And then like I get onto a train, and it's like, oh my word, am I on the right train? Am I going to go in the right direction? Am I going to make it for our own panel? And then like a couple of stops on, people in cosplays come on, and I'm like, thank goodness, I'm going the right way.
yeah, that was exactly how I was. Because the Friday I was like, well, I'm going to walk over Tower Bridge and walk down to Tower Gateway, like tube DLR stop. I can't remember whether or not it was the right way I was going, so I asked someone. I was like, "Is this the one that goes to the XL?" And they were like, "Yeah, that's right." And I'm still sitting there going, "Have I got to change anywhere? Have I got to do anything like that?" And then a couple of stops down, I'm just like, "Cosplayers, yeah, I'm on the right one. This is cool. Like, I know where I'm going now. Like, follow them. We're good." And I've been to the XL many times at this point, but still, I get like a bit turned around.
DLR. There is times where you have to like get off at Canning Town and then go on to this one for XL. And it's like,
that was the thing, is where I would have got off at London Bridge. I could have taken the Jubilee line to go to Canning Town, but I was like, well, actually, if I take a 15-minute walk over the bridge, then I know I can get a direct DLR train straight from there, and I don't have to do any of that. I was like, okay, this will do, and I don't mind walking over Tower Bridge. Tower Bridge is awesome. But yeah, so the one thing I did see from cosplay wise, and I can't remember whether it was definitely a cosplay or it was something to do with the actual show itself, because I did see them later on in the weekend, but there were several Daleks going around, and they were awesome, because on the Friday I was standing at the Lego stand, and they were like, obviously, as you can imagine with a Dalek, they can't get up any steps, and there's a small little ramp there, and they're like rolling around, they're like trying to get up onto the Lego section, and doing their thing, and they're like trying to get up. It's like, excuse me, can I get past? And then one of them tries backing up and gets stuck. It was like, And then one of them goes, I think you're stuck. And he's like, I'm not stuck. It's like, it was the stupidest thing that I saw nearly all weekend long, but had everyone in this line for Lego Batman in absolute stitches. It was
when they
fantastic.
did back up, did they go boop?
They didn't, unfortunately. I was disappointed by that. I was so disappointed, but it was very, very funny. So great effort put in for that one as well. So yeah, I think what we'll do, because we've gone quite long, but obviously this is essentially just a review show. Admittedly, me and Mike are press. We got given our credentials, and we got the creator ones as well to show that we were there. Mm-hmm. So we have to make sure that we were reviewing this as such. So
of course,
we'll give a final little wrap up. We won't give a score because I think it's unfair to give a score, but we'll just give our general last final thoughts on the show. So, Nana, you've been a little bit quiet on the last little while because obviously you only did the Friday, but I'll go to you first.
The hour, the poor soul.
Yeah. So we'll let you lead the charge when it comes to the wrap up. So gives you closing thoughts. Oh, can't hear you, mate. Okay, we'll go to Mike. There we go.
Yeah.
Sweet. Oh,
I forgot my switch was off.
He fell asleep with his eyes open. He's been snoring for the last.
Look at this. The ever professional is like, I don't want my background sound coming in. I'll turn my microphone off. You're better than both of us, man. Go on, Nana.
Yeah. On the cosplay front, I did just want to shout out the one Fox cosplayer I saw who had the giant movable mask. I thought that was very cool.
Yeah, I think I saw that one as well.
Mm-hmm. But I enjoyed myself. I had a good time, but in terms of recommending should people come here, I'm in two minds about it, because if you're more of a general anime fan or fan of comics and games and stuff like that, I think you'll be fine. But if you're looking for an EGX type experience, I don't think this is the place to go for it, honestly.
100%, yeah. Can't disagree with you at all.
I'll get into that in a minute as well, yeah.
Well, crack on, Mike. The floor is yours.
No, let Nana finish, man.
Yeah, I would say I had a good time, I've been talking to maybe next year I want to come with friends and things like that. I just think that, I think that they need to find a way to bring back some of the EGX, or maybe bring it as a separate event entirely, because I'm not sure what the deal is with that, honestly.
Yeah, I'd agree. So, Mike, the floor is now yours, I believe.
Okay. I'm not going to take too long talking about this, because if you aren't, I've probably had my thoughts over on my channel anyway.
Settle in, this is going to be about 10 minutes.
Tangent time! Hashtag not my Kylie. Hashtag bring her back. So, yeah, I mean, on the whole, generally, I did very much enjoy my time. As always, there's a hell of a lot of market stalls and all that, and sometimes you can't necessarily get to them either. Yeah. But it wasn't absolutely terrible. There was a lot of stuff there, but a lot of stuff mixed and matched all over the place. So it was very difficult to try and find a flow. And I kind of understand that, because it's sort of like what supermarkets do when they move the produce around, so that you will constantly, walk around each time and think, oh, actually, maybe I will pick this up, or maybe I won't pick that up. I only came in for milk, but I'll go home with some cookies and, God knows what, because now I'm here and I've seen it. So it's kind of like that kind of feel at EGX, at Comic Con. So you're looking for example, you're looking for Pokemon cards, or you're looking for video game. I mean, video games was the toughest one, because there's only 2 or 3 stalls in the whole area. One of them absolutely dedicated to import. So it's none of games that, unless you've got an imported system to play them on, because a good number of them are region locked, and then trying to find them there as well is absolutely manic, because they got a very, very lovely illustrated map, which strangely enough is not very legible, because it will come up with numbers, and then you have to look for the numbers down at the bottom and see what matches up, and then you go to look again and you have no clue where you go. That's the map. which is very lovely illustrated. And then it's like,
I knew I had it to hand for
example, a very good one is apparently like Playtonic Games was there. Now I know they were there last year as well with You Can Replay League. I played it then, and I wanted to bump back into them and reconnect and say, hey guys, in person, thank you for providing us with a review code, and we thoroughly enjoyed the game. But trying to find them now, because I couldn't find them in like the gaming area, and unless they were somewhere there, I could not find them at all.
No.
And that was a common theme with a lot of stuff. Like if you're looking for something in particular, you are less likely to find it. But if you were just casually like browsing, you would find pretty much everything. So it does kind of depend on how you look at it. The cosplayers, again, kudos to them, to the absolutely amazing, what they put into their cosplays. I did quite like the artist alley as well, where they had a lot of people with artists that had prints. And also, there was a number of the Beano artists there as well.
Yeah.
Which, when I was a kid, I thoroughly enjoyed reading the Beano. Obviously, they're not the same as the artist that I, grew up with, and it was actually my grandfather that got me into the Beano, because he enjoyed Beano when he was a kid, and then passed it on to my mum, and my mum got me into it, and that kind of thing. And if you don't know who the Beano is, obviously it's a comic that has all different characters like Dennis the Menace and Minnie the Minx, Backstreet Kids, and all that. And it was like a fun little romp kind of comic. But like as you said, EGX, I think it's coming to a point that they are actually just kind of like phasing it out completely. So I still think they are going to have like video games there, but they are just going to kind of like drop the EGX thing, because now Comic Con is done twice yearly, or MCM Comic Con is done twice yearly. So one in May, one in October. The one in October, since like after the pandemic, when they had like Final Fantasy there, and it was really weird because like we had EGX one year, and then like the month after, or a couple of weeks after, it was Comic Con, and then Comic Con had Final Fantasy remake or retrograde.
It was 2023 that had that issue, because that was when we had EGX, which was we had the Tekken tournament that was disrupted by Just Stop Oil.
Yes, that's right. And it's like, okay, so this is your big gaming event, and your big game that could be there is actually at something else a couple of weeks later.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is what I was saying to you across the weekend, actually. Is like Final Fantasy has a massive presence like across all spheres of this. Like, it didn't surprise me. It was surprising at the time that it wasn't at the games convention, but it was at the Comic Con convention. But it makes more sense because I had so much advertisement for Square Enix here anyway, but nothing that was playable from Square Enix this time around, which I thought was actually more strange than what it was. Yeah, it was a bit weird. Anyway.
So it's like we had the voice cast for, the games, and obviously it's coming to Nintendo Switch 2 very, very soon. So you would have thought, hey, let's have the Nintendo Switch 2 version playable there, because, we had it at like Tokyo Game Show and, Gamescom and all that. And it's like, okay, this would be a great platform to have it here, because, Capcom has a presence and stuff like that. And Square Enix could have had a presence there. And then it's like, oh, no. Absolutely not. But yeah, it does seem like they're kind of phasing it out. There was a lot of, like we said before, there was a lot of university students that had created games to be presented there. There was the Left Field collection as well, and a small like retro section. But there was none of your like big typical games. Like obviously Nintendo wasn't there, PlayStation wasn't there, Xbox wasn't there, Sega wasn't there. Now Sega's been at WASD and all that. Capcom's been at WASD, which obviously no longer exists now, unfortunately. Shame. And it constantly keeps killing off these gaming conventions, and that this is a huge problem, because I do love the essence of going to these gaming conventions, because they are the same as Comic Con in a way that you get to recommunicate and hang out with your friends that you've met online and stuff like that. It gives me a good opportunity to bump into UP and to you, Nana, and obviously Rich Stokes and the rest of our EGX gang as well, who I've met at these events, and then you get excited to meet each other again for the next one. And even if I don't play a game at these, but seeing other people enjoy playing these games and hanging out with my best buds, that I've met online, and we have such a great rapport, and just have a great time.
Mm-hmm.
That is what makes like Comic Con for me. This is what makes EGX for me. But it does feel like they are just kind of phasing EGX out, and then it may just be Comic Con, but there will be games. But yeah.
Yeah, I mirror the sentiment from both of you on every single aspect of this. EGX seems to be moving down the wayside, unfortunately. Like, we feared this would be the case when it was announced that EGX wouldn't really happen. Anymore when they moved it into Comic Con. We do need to preface this that ReedPop are the ones who owned both anyway, so they've clearly seen that their audience is Comic Con. They get more people for Comic Con than they ever did for EGX. It sort of makes sense, but it is also disappointing as someone who's been a big fan of going to EGX conventions in the years gone by. I wish there was a little bit more game presence, but I understand that they're going to draw more of a crowd. And that being said, like, I still had an incredible time. I thought this was like a really well run event for the amount of people that were there. Like, I'll give credits where it's due. It's always difficult to have to deal with a large scale amount of people, but I thought everything run really smoothly, really well. It was really well organised. Everything ran on time. And it just... it didn't appear like there was any hitch whatsoever with anything across this entire weekend. And you would think that, there may be stories that come out after the fact, some bad things that may have happened, but I didn't hear about any of it at the time, which you usually would do. Like with the EGX where Just Stop Oil got involved, you knew straight away that had happened, and it was the talk of the entire convention. But I didn't hear any of that this weekend. It just sounded like everyone had a great time. Everyone had fun, and that's the best thing.
We had a good time. We had a great time. Now, there's been times that we've gone to these events, and it's like, things need to change here. There were problems. There were issues. There were, niggly bits that had to be sorted out. And it seems like this time it was very, very, very well sewn together, very, very well meshed. And
Absolutely.
they did a superb job. So, kudos to...
Yeah, I mirror that. I mean, it's 2021 EGX where we were there, and it wasn't a great event. It was fun because obviously it was a good
Full
event.
mountain.
Yeah, exactly. It was a good event because we made the best of it. In the grand scheme of things, it wasn't the best event because it was post-COVID. But I was actually having the conversation with someone in the line for Lego Batman who said that was his first EGX, and he loved it. Whereas I went, the first I went to 2019, and that was so much better, and it was. Oh yeah. But he was like, as a first time experience, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. But then I heard everyone talking about how bad it was, and it was like, I turned around to him and said, it wasn't bad. I made the best out of it. But compared to 2019, it was night and day difference.
I have been to all sorts of events, especially small scale events. Now, kudos to them for the 2021 event where they had, all these restrictions, and it's like you can't have so many people there, and you had to space everything out. Mm-hmm. So they only had half the floor as well, and it's like, okay, so you got the full mountain here, and you got this there, and you got this there, and then obviously on the whole, everything could have easily fitted in a couple of, it's broken up into sections, isn't it? So it could easily have fitted in 2 or 3 sections. But, they had to do the best they can. Now, I've gone to other events and things, but more local events, where it was held in a sports hall, but the actual event itself, now you think, a sports hall, that's quite big. It's got a football pitch inside, kind of indoor football area, and you think, okay, well, that'd be pretty good. And no, it was basically down the side of that, with a few games screens, demo booths to play, which they borrow from somewhere else, and then 2 stands, and that was it.
Yeah.
So going to EGX in 2021, if that was your first event, that was not a bad event. That was a pretty good event. But if you're coming on the back of 2019, then obviously you go into and you think, this is a bit bare bones.
Yeah, I've been to those local events as well, and I remember the one that I went to in Canterbury quite a few years ago, and it was the same thing. It was a couple of retro setups and then a few stalls, and that was it. It was in a church hall, and it was a great. It was free to to the public. It was free to go in, and that was fine. Like, it was what it was, and it wasn't a good event, let's say. But then you look at 2021 EGX, it's like a large scale operation, and it wasn't the best, but it was still better than like that sort of thing. But this event,
one of the biggest takeaways from that, one of the biggest takeaways from this event is obviously it was run by the town hall. And it's like they've got these demo booths, and on the top of one it says PlayStation, the other says Xbox, the other one says Nintendo, but underneath it was all PlayStation consoles with all PlayStation games.
Amazing.
And it's like that typical meme of like your nan looking at all the different consoles and going, yeah, they're all Nintendo.
Yeah.
That's a Nintendo. That's a Nintendo.
Yeah, fantastic. So I give credit to
he's playing Uncharted on that Nintendo.
Of course he is. But yeah, I give credit to this event. Like, a lot of the stuff wasn't for me. Like the anime stuff, the manga stuff, not for me. Like all the buying and selling of stuff, not for me. There's a lot of stands there. It's over a large area. A lot of it is not of my interest. But like Mike said, I get to meet up with you guys. I get to meet up with other people I've met at conventions. I get to meet random people just queuing in lines and have a conversation with them. Shout out to that bloke from Edinburgh that I was talking to. He was awesome. I can't remember your name, but thanks for subscribing to the podcast on Spotify. I really appreciate it.
Brilliant.
And that was awesome. Like, he was cool. Like, he's talking to me about his Gamescom experience and stuff like that. That was wicked, and stuff like that is the stuff that I really enjoy. And in years gone by, I've met like Richard Stokes and Gorney and Barry and all those lot. And they're my usual thing that I go to these conventions for, is to go and see these people, to go and have fun with them. And if I'm there in the press aspect and going to meet some cool industry people and all of that, that's a bonus to me. Going to meet up with my mates and have a good time is exactly what the convention run is all about for me. And this one absolutely knocked it out of the park, because there was so much to do, even if you didn't have a major interest in it. It was just something for everyone, and it was fantastic. I'd say it was just a lot of fun, and obviously doing a panel there does sweeten the deal a little bit in that respect, and that is a fun ass experience to do. As nerve-wracking as it was so cool to do, and appreciative of ReedPop for obviously getting in contact and allowing us to do that, so thank you very much. And obviously the press pass and being able to correspond with all those cool people, and interviews and press junkets and all that sort of thing. It was amazing, doing that side of things as well.
The crazy thing is that we've been all doing this for a good few years now, but even still we suffer from imposter syndrome. And it's like we go back to our daily jobs, whether you're working in sales or insurance, or you're cleaning pools for a living or whatever, in my case, for example. And then it's like we go to these events, and now all of a sudden
we are them as well.
Someone, we are the people that we've admired and all that. And doing that panel, I mean, just to be on that panel and there's people sitting there listening to me talking about it, when I've been going to these events and I've been the one sitting there listening to people, and now I'm on the panel. So thank you very much for that, Pete, for that kind of experience.
You're welcome.
And it does it feel, yes. This is, I mean, there is always who you are and who you want to be kind of thing. So it's you've got to wear your different outfits kind of thing, or your alter ego. And we all want our alter ego to be the best it possibly can be. So, there's some of us who are the Clark Kent who becomes Superman, and there's others of us who are the Superman who pretends to be Clark Kent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
Yeah, that was the thing. And just the final point before we obviously wrap this up is I completely agree with you, because I was having that conversation with the person from The Escapist, where I was asking about how I get a job within the video games industry and with The Escapists themselves. And I was like, they were like, oh, you just reach out via LinkedIn. And I went, yeah, my CV on there is literally just going to show office and sales and, admin work, so. And they were like, yeah, just get in contact with them, just send them a message and they might have a look. And I was like, that's really helpful, I really appreciate it, that's so cool. And the imposter syndrome definitely felt like it was there, talking to even though a journalist who'd only been on, very recent, it still felt like I was in the wrong place, because I'm like, I work in car financing, or what? Actually, I've told you what I do, but that's fine. I don't care. It's like, I work in that industry, and I'm like, well,
that's your Clark Kent identity.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
but
actually Pete Beckett, Rapid Reviews.
Yeah,
but for
of
the
course.
day-to-day,
yeah, that's my day-to-day. But that's fine. Like, it felt like I was an imposter in that room when we were doing a Sonic discussion. But then, I still felt like I was doing my job to some degree, to the best of my ability. And that's what, obviously, they gave us the passes to do, is to do stuff like this. And,
exactly.
I really appreciate Repop always coming through and doing that for us.
One thing I would like to say to anybody, now, we all know that if you're ever, trying to get a job or whatever, and as great as your curriculum can be, especially for those who may not have particularly much in the field that they're really trying to get into, so like, for example, like video game journalism and stuff like that, a lot of the times it does come down to who you know. Not so much about what you do and what you know, but who you know. Now, somebody can help open the door and you can go in, which obviously, is always great if you've got somebody who, like Uncle at Nintendo, as I always like, joke to you guys about. But, having somebody who can help open the door for you to get in, but then it's down to your merits to be able to stay in that job.
And also your initiative as well.
Yeah, so it's like, you finally become a journalist or whatever, and it's like, yeah, but I got into this because a friend said, why don't you come over and write for them, and I'll introduce you. So it's like, thanks to the influence of your friend, you get the job, but it's down to you and your talent and you as a person whether you get to keep that job.
Sure, it's
or not.
With any job that you do, regardless of what it is, obviously. But yeah,
exactly,
I agree.
Exactly.
But yeah, we've gone very long on this one, so it's
time for us to wrap it up. So, Nana, we're going to hand it over to you. Where can people out there find you?
Hang on, Budget Kylie.
We'll get to you, Pete. Don't you worry.
You completely took those reins and was like, I'm going with it. I'm doing it. It's fine. Yeah. You stopped my line, but carry on. Yeah, no, carry on. He's set you up.
I told you I'd get you back for Perfect Dark.
You did. Fair enough. All right, Nano. Yeah.
All right, yeah. You guys can find me on Twitter at Nana_Marfo, and same for Instagram. I mainly talk about like the video games I've been playing and like the anime I've been watching, and then you can go to nmarfoblogs.wordpress.com if you want to read more about that in detail.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Excellent. And Pete, where can people find you?
Sod off. No.
I've hijacked your podcast now.
Mike, you might be best friend of the show, one of the best friends of the show.
All week.
Yeah, but you need to close yourself out, because I need to actually do all the admin side of things and all that sort of thing to finish up.
Course.
So,
okay.
Mike, please plug your stuff.
All right. Well, you can find me over on twitch.tv _ not Kylie Wilde. Sorry, I mean...
For God's sake.
I am over on www.miketendo64.com. That's where we post all our news, reviews, interviews, giveaways, and so much more. We are also on YouTube as Miketendo64, and we're also growing our Game and Chat brand, where we are a podcast who invite members of the gaming community and industry to join us to play their favourite games whilst telling us about themselves and why they enjoy these games so much.
And that's a new channel, right?
That is a new channel, yes. I'm slowly moving the stuff over because of YouTube's monetization BS, but that is for another time. And we have not got time to get into that.
No, we do not. So, much appreciated both of you for coming on, obviously, and for joining over the weekend. It's been a blast. But I must call this a day. So I will finish out by saying thank you very much for listening to the show. If you've liked us, If you liked what you listened to and you're watching this on YouTube, please give us a like, comment, a subscribe, share with your friends. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the like, please give us a 5-star rating. We would much appreciate it if you do. You can get in contact with the show on Twitter at RR Radio Pod and Blue Sky. Just search for Rapid Reviews Radio Podcast. We're live on Twitch every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. UK time, where we'll do this with a certain Kylie Wild, but she was unwell today, so you've got us lot. So like I said, if you liked it, please let everyone know that you liked it. But with that said, we are going to wrap this show up. So we will see you and talk to you. Not next week, because I've got to take a week off. It'll be in 2 weeks' time. Goodbye, everyone.
Kylie, you're up next week.
Yeah, it's Kylie's show next week. It's solely on her. She doesn't know. But goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Rapid Reviews Radio Podcast. You can watch the recording of the show live on Twitch every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. UK time at www.twitch.tv/rapidreviews. You can also watch the podcast on YouTube, search Rapid Reviews 5534, and you can also watch the video version of the show on Spotify, just search Rapid Reviews Radio. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, a rating, or a comment on this episode. You can also follow us on Twitter at rrradiopod, as well as on Blue Sky at rrradiopodcast.bsky.social. Also be sure to visit rapidreviewsuk.com for all the latest reviews and previews.